am an old person. I mean, I'm 43, but that feels like really old in this ever-changing culture that we live in. I keep trying to keep up with technology, but it keeps changing on me. I especially feel old as a woman because, like, historically speaking, it's kind of as if women over 30 typically aren't allowed out of the house for fear that they'll scare all the young and hopeful people. But in all seriousness, women have always been praised for their youth, for their wrinkle-free, cellulite-free, stretch mark-free existence. It's hard not to feel a certain waning of vitality post-40. An inspiring thing that gives me hope from my perspective of a dungeon of cobwebs and Victorian swimsuits, though, is young, empowered women. We recently celebrated Women's Equality Day in the United States. You know, the day that commemorates the adoption of the 19th Amendment. What's that, you say? The one that guarantees women the right to vote. So I thought, what better way to honor the women who have changed the world in the past than by honoring and giving a shout out to all of the amazing women changing the world today. So here goes. Hey, you know who you are, you amazing young women changing the world, and I love you. And I love you even when I don't always agree with you because I am your sister. I love you as a sister in this struggle against a world trying to understand who we are, what we need, what we don't need, what we will tolerate, and what we expect. You are politicians in bold lipstick preaching about the struggle of the working class. You are students on campuses all over the world fighting for your rights as evolving future teachers, scientists, doctors. You are moms, unafraid to share the details of your birth story, your breastfeeding struggles, and your postpartum depression. You are activists fighting for mental health protection for us all. You are on YouTube and on Instagram expressing yourselves, expressing your sexual selves, teaching women like me what it means to be confident in your sexuality. You are transgender, you're non-binary, queer, theys, thems, everywhere and anywhere being everything that you were meant to be. I love you and I envy you because of these 4 reasons. Number 1, fearlessness. You say whatever you want, and that's amazing. But I still fear speaking my mind. I turn things over and over and I worry that I'm saying too much or I'm saying the wrong thing or I'm too forceful or I'm too much. I worry a lot. A lot of us do. But you are fearless. You say what you want, when you want it, and you are listened to. Opportunities abound for well-spoken, confident women in ways that they never were available before. Number 2, resilience. You don't seem to be laid low when people insult you. And if you are, it's not for long. When I see comments, particularly online, disputing something I've said, I put it in a devastating context. I see young women now responding to critics like this. This is what I think, and you don't have to agree with me. If you don't like it, take a hike. Wow. You stare down racists and sexists and anti-Semites. You even smile in front of anti-Arab protesters wearing your hijab because you know that you are stronger than them. I am inspired by those kinds of actions. I hope to have 1 fraction of your confidence someday. Number 3, ownership. You own the word feminism. Feminism, while still grossly misunderstood by many people, is no longer spoken about in hushed tones the way it was when I was a young feminist fighting for the right of women's equality. We see the word feminism on t-shirts. Men can be feminists. Children are feminists. Everybody can be a feminist. We're seeing women in power using the word feminism appropriately and with specific purpose and meaning. And while there are still some dolts who insist that feminists hate men, most people are getting a much more accurate picture of what feminism actually means, thanks to you. Number 4, sexuality. Ooh. Your sexuality is very nuanced. I'll be the first to admit that I don't always understand third and fourth wave feminism's use of social media to demonstrate your sexuality in ways that used to be considered exploitative. You own your sexuality with a confidence and an assuredness that's really expanded our culture's conversations about empowerment, entitlement, and gender. And while the implications of this kind of sexual display may not be clear to us as an evolving society, the discussions that we now have with each other, with our lovers, with our coworkers, with our children, these conversations about the role that sex plays in our lives are now mature, they are nuanced, and they are eye-opening. They're important. Do you know what's even more astounding? I'm gonna tell you. But first, I wanna thank the Great Courses Plus for sponsoring this video. The Great Courses Plus is a subscription video on-demand learning service. They have a huge library of over 11,000 videos and audio lectures taught by amazing experts, including a lot of incredible female experts on every topic, from yoga to history to education to anything you can think of. You can use my link below to get a free 30-day trial. Woo! So do you know what's even more astounding? How incredible these 4 things are to women of my generation. Fearlessness, resilience, ownership, and sexuality. Why are these things so shocking to women of my generation? Well, you see, modern ladies, we didn't have them the same way that you do. We straddled the generation of women who often feared men and your generation. Women of my generation were kind of figuring it out as we went. You actually feel entitled to being respected. Like, whoa, imagine that. That's crazy. And awesome, but crazy. I never really felt entitled to be empowered and to empower others. I felt like I was an oddball and a misfit. I was a rebel rouser for going to the protests I went to, having the conversations that I had, challenging the patriarchy. You women of today expect to be respected because you can be, and that is wonderful. You can own feminism as a concept and as an identity, and you can also reject it if you want to. You can pose nude or you can cover up, and you can also speak intelligently about why either or both work or don't work for you. And you have a strength that many of us never knew to have. The strength to know that you don't have to make everyone happy because that's not your job. Your job as women who seek to change the world from your generation's perspective is to be fearless and resilient. You own language and you know how to use it. Your sexuality is complicated and unabashed. It's part of your collective identity, whether you choose to flaunt it or not, and that's a good thing. While the ways that women empower and feel empowered changes so much over time, it's incredibly heartwarming that the struggle for equality and understanding about and for women has changed and evolved so much. And we older feminists do things differently. I sometimes think you're immature, impetuous, blurring the lines too much. Sometimes you confuse me, but you know what? That's okay. I can be me and you can be you, and that's okay. And do you know who taught me that? You did. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out the Great Courses Plus. Their video and audio lectures are taught by top experts from the Ivy Leagues, National Geographic, the Mayo Clinic. There are so many amazing courses. I recently watched the course Identity, Politics, and Feminism, and it was incredible. Such an important foundation for understanding women and men and gender and class. I highly recommend it. So please visit thegreatcoursesplus.com/Mayam or click on the description below and get a link for a free 30-day trial. Thank you again for watching. See you next time.